What's up, everyone? For the past couple of days, I've been looking at the Xbox One. Before this conference, I was expecting this system to be a pretty good one that would have been beneficial to gaming, but as it turns out, it's not really anything all that special. In fact, this video is not really going to be anything positive about that, so if you're a fanboy that keeps thinking something along the lines of, "Oh my gosh, my company is so perfect, there's no way they could do anything wrong, you're just butthurt that my system's better than yours," and you need to learn to stop being a blind sheep that just buys into everything that your company does. Because honestly, it doesn't benefit anyone when you support BS that shouldn't even be supported to begin with. Now that I've got that out of the way, it's time to actually dive into what's actually bothering me about this system. Now, when it comes to the press conference, I didn't really care for it, but it wasn't really a deal breaker for me either. Basically, what I got out of it was exactly how Alpha Omega Sin describes it.
Sports, 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 TV, TV, sports, sports.
Microsoft basically made this gaming console look like it was for everything except gaming. There was even this random tidbit where this chick came out on the stage and was just like, "The Xbox One is going to be your next water cooler." I'm like, really? That's great, but I don't give a crap. I want to know what it can do gaming-wise. Well, there was Call of Duty at the end, but really, who gives a crap about that when you can get it on pretty much every system out there?
They also announced that every Xbox One will come with a Kinect, but the downside to this is that you always have to keep it plugged in. Microsoft apparently doesn't care that you've got a controller that you can just do simple button presses with and that you don't have to speak all the time whenever you want to play a game. In fact, it's actually faster just to do a simple button press than it is to say Xbox on and then have it turn on after that. But like I said before, this was all during the conference when I didn't really get anything that was a deal breaker for me. In fact, everything that's making me stay far away from this system actually came after the conference was over. The first of these that comes to my mind is the fact that indie developers can't self-publish their own games. And this is apparently no different than the 360's policy on publishing games to the Xbox Live Arcade. This is simply just bogus for a lot of reasons. For one, a lot of publishers today are an unnecessary middleman that you don't even necessarily need. And if I remember correctly, Pony Studios was actually going to be screwed out of getting their game on the Xbox 360 just because of this crap. But luckily, Ubisoft came in and helped them out with that. But when I say this is bullcrap, I'm speaking strictly for those developers that aren't necessarily as lucky as Pony Studios. I remember seeing a lot of tweets on Twitter from a whole bunch of indie developers, most notably Team Meat, the guys behind various games like Super Meat Boy and Notch from Mojang, basically the guys who made Minecraft, and they're not all too thrilled with what's going on. And in a surprising turn of events, there's even a Nintendo employee, Dan Edelman, that's upset by this too. The exact tweet is, "One might think I'd be glad Xbox won't allow indies to self-publish. It's actually a big negative, as indies need more exposure. Hashtag grow the pie." I completely agree with this in the long run because honestly, a lot of indie titles go multi-platform so that way they can increase their user base, which also increases the amount of money they make. Because let's face it, indie development usually doesn't become that successful. The only way indie games usually become successful is if they're lucky like Minecraft is. Another thing that I would know would inconvenience a lot of people is the fact that the Xbox Live Arcade purchases that you make on the 360, you're not going to be able to transfer those over to the Xbox One. So if you buy any of the arcade games on the 360, you'll have to rebuy them again when you get an Xbox One. I know a lot of people give Nintendo a ton of crap for having a weird transfer process when it comes to games purchased off of the Wii Shop channel, but this is ridiculous. Instead of providing at least some way to keep your purchases, Microsoft instead decided to go,
Uh-oh, poo-poo,
and completely just thrash the whole transfer process to begin with. On top of this, Microsoft apparently isn't doing away with the Xbox Live Gold service either. Even though Sony and Nintendo offer online services for free, Microsoft is still insisting that you pay in order to be able to use their online services. On the Xbox 360's dashboard, there are currently a ton of ads everywhere on it, so I don't understand why you're paying for online services on that either. It should be free since the ads are supposed to be providing funding for Microsoft's servers to begin with. Another retarded thing about the gold service is that it's necessary if you want to watch Netflix, which is already a paid service to begin with. So you're telling me I have to pay 2 bills to just watch Netflix? Forget that. I'll just go to Sony and Nintendo for that. They offer online services for free. They also won't make you double pay for Netflix. And if that wasn't enough, you have to install every single game disc that you have to your hard drive. I know for a lot of people it probably won't be that much of a big deal because they were planning on installing the game to their hard drive anyway, but I still don't think you should have to be forced into it if you don't want to install it. I mean, what if you just want to save space on your hard drive? Microsoft, when it comes to options, it's always a good idea to give the customer as many options as possible. And in this case, you should let the customer play the game off the disc if they want to. And if that wasn't bad enough, now we've got all these rumors here that have mostly been confirmed by Microsoft themselves. First of these is a requirement for an internet connection. Now, it's not the always online thing that everyone's been thinking it was going to be, but you do have to remain connected once every 24 hours. Microsoft, in case you didn't know, there are still a lot of areas in this world today that don't have access to the internet. And even if you do have an internet connection, it's very rarely ever guaranteed to stay up all the time. In fact, my internet has gone out for days at a time before, due to the fact that it's run by solar panels, and anytime a cloud gets in front of one, my internet goes down. And I know I'm not the only one with an internet connection that goes down from time to time. There are also people that like to take their gaming consoles with them when they want to go on a vacation somewhere. So you're telling me that if that spot doesn't have any sort of internet access, they can't play it? That's freaking ridiculous. And if anyone tries to tell me to just shorten the length of their vacation down to like 16 hours so that way you can still play your console for the whole entire time you're there, should that really be something that I'm concerned with? Should I really have to plan my whole entire vacation around a gaming console? Come on now. Another argument that I've actually heard someone make before with the always online is that, oh, you should just move to some place with better internet. Ugh. Moving takes a lot of time and preparation for most people. They can't do it just whenever they want to. They have to have a reason behind it because they are leaving behind a lot when they move. And you're telling me the reason I should move is just to play a flippin' gaming console? I'm sorry, but if that's a good enough reason for you to move, then that must be a sad life that you're living. On top of this internet connection BS, it's also been confirmed that you basically have to pay a fee to play used games. From what I've heard, this fee could be the retail price of a game when it's bought new. There are also a lot of people thinking that this is only a fee that's paid by the retailers, but it won't make a difference in the end. Either way, the customer is going to have to end up paying more, because if the retailers have to pay the price, they're going to have to regain that lost money somehow. There are people out there that think used games are what's hurting the industry. No, they're not. There's a used market for pretty much every other item out there. Furniture, clothing, TVs, cars, homes, you name it. There's a used market for it out there somewhere. So why are video games considered so special here? And on top of that, there are some video games out there that you can only get used because the producers have stopped making new copies. This also goes back to when I was talking about the mandatory game installs earlier. You should let people have the option to buy games used. You can't force them to do something that they don't want to do. Plus, what's going to happen 5 or 6 years down the line when everyone is moving on to the new hardware and the servers for the Xbox One aren't being supported anymore? Am I not going to be able to play on the system, period? Because there aren't any servers to verify that I have an internet connection? If so, then it just became a big paperweight that my SNES isn't. I know a lot of people are going to be coming to me with things like, Microsoft said this, Microsoft said that, and blah, 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 blah. Look, they have given a whole bunch of mixed communication here. And quite frankly, I think they're speaking exactly like politicians. They're sidestepping every single direct question just so that they don't have to tell you what you don't want to hear. Every time I hear a Microsoft employee speak, I always hear things like, "Oh, we'll talk about this more at a later date," or "What you've been told so far is inaccurate and incomplete. Please wait until a later date when we can tell you more about it." Microsoft, if all this information about Always Online and used game fees is really inaccurate, then how about you come out and confirm some stuff? Don't wait until E3 to do it. There is no universal law that says you have to wait until E3. Do it now. Your silence and sidestepping of this issue is only telling us what's really going on, and it's that you're actually doing all this crap. And your little shenanigans on YouTube, where you decided to go and disable all the comments on every single Xbox One video on the Xbox channel, isn't helping you either. In fact, it's just making people lose more respect for you. As of right now, I can't really recommend that anyone ever go buy this thing. The only way that Microsoft is ever going to get themselves out of this hole is if they go ahead and remove all the BS anti-consumer stuff within the system. If a lot of people end up supporting crap like this, it's only going to send a message to the other greedy gaming corporations out there that just want to make a quick buck. And just so you know, no one is forcing you to get the console. Microsoft can't force you to get it. I can't force you to get it. No one can. So it is in your power and your power alone to go ahead and refuse to pay for this thing. If this is the only way that Microsoft can learn their lesson, then so be it. If you feel the system's a piece of crap too, feel free to spread the message around. In fact, if you simply just want to download this video and re-upload it to your channel, by all means you're welcome to do it. But that pretty much wraps it up for what I have to say about the Xbox One as of right now, so I guess I'll just see you later.